Welcome back to White Gaming for another Icarus update. This update is quite a big one and covers loads of awesome stuff, as well as some things that they're going to be moving into in the future. Now, they have already started to move certain missions over to operations. Now, if you are a fan of Icarus and you've played it before, you will know that the way that they did this was, when they launched the game, it was basically, you start a mission up in space, you drop down onto the planet, you do what you've got to do, then you go back up to space, and then you come back down and restart that process over and over again without an open world element. And now they're slowly converting a lot of those missions into the open world side of the game that they have created since the launch. Now, the open world side of the game, I do think, is much better, and I think that should have been the original path that they went down. The open world side is so much better because you can build, you can craft, and you can take your time. Whereas the actual mission side of things, when you drop down, there's a time limit. Everything you do, even if you're there for a few hours building, playing, once you've gone back up to the surface, all of that is wiped away and you have to restart. So now having that more open world side of the game has really interested me into playing it a hell of a lot more. They did introduce the open world aspect quite a while ago, but they are slowly migrating more of the original game features over to the open world side, so it can be played as an open world survival title, which I love that idea, and I love Icarus. Icarus is a great game. I still play it from time to time, and the recent updates have really intrigued me. So if you do want to see some more Icarus content, let me know in the comments down below. We may just start covering every update, which is on every single Friday, so we'll start with that, I think, and then move on and see how we go with more Icarus content. Let me know what you think in the comments. Now, this is the week 129 update. So over 2 years of continuous updates every single week, which is insane. Now, this update focuses around performance and late game hitching, which they have now fixed. The team have said that performance improvements is something that they work on constantly, but it is a little bit like prospecting for gold in the fact that it can be a lot of work with no outcome. This week they've implemented specific performance improvements for late game hitching, and they're rolling out late game hitching fixes that they've been discussing over the past few weeks after rigorous testing, and this will reduce or eliminate the hitching when traversing the map in open worlds that you've playing on for a while. Now, the way that they've addressed this is they've reworked how the game loads state of mines in mined rock voxels, splitting them onto a separate thread so it takes the strain off of the main game thread. They've also updated the next task, which is converting some more of the Styx and Olympus missions into the open world operations, as I mentioned earlier at the start of the video. Now, the most important improvements to this update is the destroy button whilst examining a player's loadout will now destroy items as intended, allowing players to remove unwanted items from their space loadout. Cats and certain animals will no longer revert to their base colouring when they are sent up to and retrieved from space. Black cats will now stay black in a nutshell. They've also updated the hyena bait to require gamey meat instead of fatty T-bone, so this requires antelope or deer kills instead of bear kills. They've fixed deep ore drills from not scaling their speed correctly and updated the UI to reflect the new value of those drills. Tyrannus will also no longer spawn on easy outposts, making them safer environment, and they've also added buffalo spawns to the forest outposts. Now, if you've not played the game, the outposts is basically the sandbox version of Icarus, where you can drop down onto a planet, select your area of expertise that you'd like to play around with, and you can build a base freely there, and that will stay as an instance. It won't delete when you leave. That is something you can go backwards and forwards to and continue to build as much as you'd like to. They've also placed loads of balancing on crossbow prices as they were not priced correctly, and they've been brought in line with certain other workshop items, and earlier easy to obtain, should we say, items have had a price reduction. So they've been adding lots of things to the orbital workshop, which is where you can buy things in game at the beginning of a mission, which you then own and you can take down to the planet's surface with you. So over the last few updates, and well, over a lot of updates recently, they've been adding new things to the workshop without any real increase or change in price. So now they've adjusted a lot of those prices to make some of the earlier game items a lot cheaper than what they currently were. Now, as I mentioned, they have done a late game hitching fix. And what hitching is, as they've said here, hitching is caused through many reasons, as they've progressively released fixes for a lot of them, but they've still been the occasional source of the hitches, and the end result looks the same. So it can be frustrating for users when we say we fixed a source of hitching, but appears not to be because they still experience it. Simply put, hitching is when a game runs out of time when preparing what to show on the screen. To solve this, we need to offload the work to somewhere else. The specific instance of hitching occurs because you ran around voxels that had been mined would be loaded in, but their meshes generated on the main thread were not multi-threaded, but now they are multi-threaded, and that is how the hitching is avoided. So basically, you've done a lot of shit and you've been playing for a long time, so that it's harder for the game to load what you've done. In a nutshell, is what I'm getting from that anyway. Could be completely wrong, but that's what it sounds like to me. And they fixed that issue for a lot of players, which is great news. Now, when it comes to operations, they're currently in the third phase of converting a lot of the original missions from Styx and Olympus to operations that will be played in the open world. Now, the reason they haven't done this for a lot of them is because of the time and complexity it takes to add these certain missions. A lot of them weren't converted over to operations because of stability, the open world format, and some of them require complete rebuilding work to be added to the new operations system. They also wanted to see how things would need to adjust in general, and the performance of the open world aspect combined with the missions that are now down there. So now things are more stable. They look at migrating a hell of a lot more missions over to operations. They have said there's a lot of trickier ones to this, and the ones that are receiving work to convert them due to the extent of the reworking required may take some time to do, but they are going through a robust testing process as they do it, and the changes required to actually do this will be treated as new operations, and all steps and stages will have to go through the trial phase again. So the aim of this is to make the operations more available for people to play in the open world, so all content can be enjoyed in regardless of whatever format you want to play in. So if you still want to go for the original timed aspect of dropping down, getting shit done as quickly as you can and getting back to your orbital workshop, or if you want to stay in that open world, build a massive town, do whatever you want to do and go off and do missions, you can still do that. But they have said the cost of these operations means a lot of the original missions may not make sense in an open world game, such as the exploration ones, because they were developed to provide an exploration experience to ensure you see certain aspects of the map before there ever was an open world mode. But now you can travel anywhere without any limits. The exploration missions are pretty much pointless. Now, currently, the way that they work is they are unlocked automatically in the mission tree. Once you've completed the prior mission, the exploration missions are now pretty much already done. But they may be removing things like that in the future if it does feel like it's more of a roadblock to the game than progress being made. And there was also talks of 2 new doggies coming to the game. Obviously, we've seen in last update that I covered, which I think was 126 or something like that. So a couple of weeks ago now was the Icarus update, which included a doggo and some cats. Now, you can already get a doggo and some cats in the game, but they will be adding the Icarus dog, which is the dog that they featured in the trailer, and a pug, which, I mean, why wouldn't you want a pug? That'd be pretty useless, but they'll be cute anyway. Now, those were meant to be coming this week, but because of the amount of work that's had to go into fixing the hitching issues, now they've moved that over to next week's update so they can spend just a bit more time testing it to make sure it all works. So for that, ladies and gentlemen, that is it from the Icarus 129 week update. If you have enjoyed today's video and you do want to see more Icarus content, let me know down in the comments below. Absolutely loving the game at the moment, just being able to build some fantastic things. Getting back into my old saves and seeing the random shit that I built originally was quite fun. So let me know if you want to see some more content. For now though, I've been Wired, you've been awesome, thanks for watching, and we'll see you very soon with some more survival.